Hello everybody, and welcome to your next set of video notes. This is Mr. Basil, and let's get started. So this is learning target 4.2 at the basic level, which is the parts of the atom. That's this whole learning target. It's all about the different parts of the atom. So at the basic level, you have to be able to determine the element name, symbol, atomic number, the number of protons. Let me just underline these big things. So the element name, symbol, atomic number, and number of protons and electrons in a neutral atom. We'll talk about in the next video about what to do when it's not a neutral atom. Seems like a lot, but you should already be able to know what a proton is, a neutron, electron, where those things are located in an atom, what their charges are, and what their masses are. So if you don't know those things, I encourage you to go back to the other resources that you have to learn those things. Though if you don't know it, maybe you'll be able to figure it out through the course of this video. The other thing that you should also have handy is your periodic table of elements, because you're going to need that in order to do this learning target. All right, just a couple of things to review first of all. A proton tells you the atomic number, and vice versa. The atomic number tells you the number of protons that are, I should say the number of protons equals the atomic number for an element. And the mass number equals the number of protons plus the number of neutrons. Okay. One thing I should say off to the side here is that when I say like a P+, that's a proton. A neutron, since those are neutral, that doesn't get a plus or a minus neutron. And this would be for electrons. Okay, it's just a quicker way of writing those words. Since we write them a lot, it's nice to have a little shorter way to write them. Let's see, what else do we need to know? Oh, and in a neutral atom, the number of protons equals the number of electrons. And so that will be useful for this. And I think that's everything that we need for now. Yeah, all right. So let's just get started with this example here. So I've got Ca, which is calcium, and it's giving me the mass number, which is nice. And so now, based off of just those short few things, I should be able to fill in the rest of the stuff on this chart. So the first thing that I need to do is I need to find calcium on the periodic table. And it's right here. It's element number 20. And keep in mind that this number right here is the average atomic mass. It is not the actual mass of one individual atom. We'll talk more about this later in this unit. Or not in this unit, but in a different unit. But it is related to mass, but it's the mass of lots of atoms put together, and it's the average of that, rather than one specific atom. So we're not going to use that for what we're doing right now. What we see right here, 20, is the element number, which is also, or the atomic number, so this atomic number would be 20. 20 is also the number of protons. The atomic number is the number of protons. And now if we need to figure out the number of neutrons, remember the mass number is the number of protons plus the number of neutrons. So in this case, we would want to subtract 20 from 41. So we do 41 minus 20, and that would give us 21 total neutrons. And then the number of electrons in a neutral atom, which all of these atoms are neutral because this is the basic level. And I'll tell you how to recognize when there's ions later. But for now, just know that the number of electrons equals the number of protons because it's a neutral atom. The number of positively charged protons has to equal the number of negatively charged electrons. And so this would be 20. You can think about like there's 20 positives and there's 20 negatives. So when you put that together, the total charge is neutral or 0. All right, moving right along here. Ne, that element is neon. I just happen to know that off the top of my head, but you're going to want to look at the periodic table. And we'll see that it's a noble gas. It's all the way off to the right-hand side of the periodic table. be this guy right here. And again, average atomic mass, not the mass number. So we're not going to use that. And then this is as the element number 10. So when I come over back to my chart here and say the atomic number is 10. And you know what? I actually didn't really look too far ahead here clearly, because I see that the number of protons is 10, which is good. You should always check that on the periodic table, but I didn't even need to look at the periodic table for that one, because these two numbers are always going to be the same no matter what. No matter what, even if there's a fire, even if there's an earthquake, these two numbers will always be the same. This one does give me the number of neutrons this time, and remember the mass number is these two things added together. So in this case it would be 10 plus 11, which gives me 21 for my mass number. And then just like before, this is a neutral atom, so the number of protons equals the number of electrons, so that would be 10 for the number of electrons as well. 10 positives, 10 negatives, that gives me an overall charge of 0, or neutral. Alright, I've got two more actually, sorry. And they're a little bit different, but I want you to pause the video and see if you can do these ones on your own. Keep in mind that where the mass number is, so that's the mass number, and this would be, I guess, the atomic number, protons, neutrons, electrons, and the mass number would go there. So yeah, go ahead, pause, see if you can do both of these, or, pause, try to do the first one. I'll go over the answer, and then you can pause it again. You choose what's best for you, but I'm just going to put the answer up here in a few seconds. So if you're going to pause now, and get ready for an answer. Alright, so here's the answer to that first one. So the way I did this is I saw that there's 31 protons, so then I looked at the periodic table and I found gallium was element number 31. So the symbol for that one is Ga. The atomic number and number of protons is always the same, so it's 31. It tells me I had 31 neutrons, and so I took my number of protons plus my number of neutrons to get a mass number of 68. And then the easy one is electrons, because the number of electrons is equal to the number of protons in a neutral atom. And so that was that. Alright, we'll be showing the answer to the next one here in a few seconds, so go ahead and pause again if you need to. Otherwise, keep on listening. And here is your answer. So this element said the atomic number was 81, so I found element 81 on the periodic table, and it's thallium. And it's hard to see because L's and I's are a little hard to distinguish, so I try to make my L's cursive, my lowercase ones at least. So it's TL, or thallium. The number of protons is 81 for the reasons we talked about before. This time it gave me the mass number, so I did my mass number minus my number of protons to get my neutrons. So I got 125 there. And then neutral atom, so 81 electrons. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.